Everything around us is different, and for the men and women working at hospitals in New York City, there is no time to rest.
Tonight, News 10 NBC's Rich Donnelly heard from a Rochester native now working on the front lines of the coronavirus in New York City.
Thanks a lot, guys. For full disclosure, the person in the story we're about to hear has been a friend of mine for 20 years. Mike Tomani and I went to middle school and high school together, and after that, our lives went in different directions. He's now a doctor in New York City battling the coronavirus.
It's surreal. There's no other way to describe it.
The world for everyone has changed. And for doctors in New York City like Michael Tomani, their change is literally a matter of life and death.
Every single way. Like whatever you can think of, it's been different. Typically work in pediatrics. Now I'm working with more adult patients, very senior patients, and because that's where the area of need is right now.
New York City is one of the epicenters for the coronavirus outbreak and has seen more than 10,000 deaths so far. Because of social distancing to try and contain the virus, one of the biggest and busiest cities in the world is effectively shut down.
It's seriously like being in a movie. It doesn't seem real, but you look around, everything's empty, and even half the trains are not running, and there's minimal traffic on the streets. Half the stores aren't open, the bars aren't open. It's crazy. It's very, very different, but it's important right now.
Life inside the hospital is also completely different.
Even physicians and nurses and healthcare workers that I've talked to have been doing this for decades. They still can't believe it's happening. They're still blown away by how different this has been than any other situation they've encountered in their careers. And these are people who have worked in third world countries. They've worked in the areas of natural disaster. They've been through everything. So I've talked to people in the emergency room who are in New Orleans for Hurricane Katrina, for instance. And they were before this all happened, they were kind of saying, this is kind of what we did, and this is what we can expect in the coming weeks. And now I talk to them and they're like, this is not even close. This is so different above and beyond every regard. So it's been a lot to take in for everybody.
But it's because of the work of doctors like Tomani and other people in the medical field that brings a sense of optimism and gratitude for healthcare workers everywhere.
Proud is such an understatement. I'm just so blown away by every one of these people. Like they're such inspirations in every regard. And I mean, I know I'm a part of that community, but the gratitude that everyone's been showing I feel the same way.
And his neighbors in New York City have shown it too.
They've been clapping at around 7 p.m. every day. And so I'm usually working. So I was home and I was like, what's that noise? And my wife was like, that's for you. And I was like, what? I thought she was joking with me. And then she was like, no, seriously, that's for the healthcare workers. They've been doing this every night. And so we went on our little balcony and there's people on the roof and everyone's like playing music, clapping, cheering. One of our friends' daughters calls it woo time because everyone just says woo and they get really happy about it. And that's been one of the big bright spots for sure.
Tomani had a couple of parting messages that he would like people in Rochester to know. First, stay home, stay safe. It's important to practice social distancing. And honest to goodness, he ended our interview with "Go Bills." That's a doctor who's ready for the world to get back to normal.